In this video, we're going to explore how we can fix the legend. So right now, as you can see, if you followed along with my videos, you have seen that we have this legend here. But of course, this legend is not appealing, doesn't work at all, and absolutely not recommended to use. We tried to use it according to the material design structure, but to be honest, I was dissatisfied with the design. It just doesn't look right, and maybe because it's just not good, but I realized that using big square colors would probably be far more better. So what we're going to do is we're going to redesign it. We're going to create our own version. We will put in here the special color design that will work and match more accordingly with our chart. So let's go in here, and what we're going to do here is we have all of these buttons. Here is the position, that's fine. And what we want to do now is I want to put in here below the legend. So we have this legend here, but I would say this is absolutely not what I want. So we're going to remove this. And in here, we're going to work with new structure. So what we're going to do is the following, just to make sure you understand it. We will put in here a input value of color that we can use with Bootstrap. And we will put in here the text. Or well, what we can do first maybe is just to get a square and give it a color. Well, we can do it in this one here. If we go to Bootstrap 5, let's look here, Bootstrap 5, there we are. We're going to get the latest part. There is a form. So we're now on the form, and what we're going to do here is get the color input. So let's see, we have them here, input group, form controls. I'm sure that this is the one, and we have here the colors. There we are. So this is the one we'll be using. So we can just copy this one here, and what will happen is we'll match it with the colors. Basically, that's what we're going to do. So let's copy this, put it in here, and then once we put it in here, we have to make sure the item or the color, whatever we have, or the shape of it is correct. So let's save this first. Refresh here. All right, we have one. We want to make sure that there's text at the back. So it should be basically the label here should match correctly here. If you look at it, this should be in line. I'm not satisfied with how it is right now. So we can say here somewhere in line. I think this is probably what we need. Something like this. A row. We can use this one, row, and from there on we will look at it. So we say here, I will just make this a div, no need to be a form for now. There we are. And then what we will have here is a new div class, and this class will be a column. Let's say column, we're going to show the color first, and then we show the text. And then I will say that column 2 would be more than enough for the input color. Alright. And then after that we will have another div class. And let's say this will be column 10 for now. Oh. So there's a maximum size here. And once we have this, we can save this and let's see how that looks like. Alright, fair enough. Should be more in the center maybe, but that's alright. We can make a paragraph out of it. Maybe that's even better. There you are. Well, we can do here a line height or baseline center, if I'm not mistaken. We can check here if that is baseline. Baseline, align items baseline. Let's see what it is. While it's loading here, it's slightly slow. We're going to put in here. We have 3 lines here, so we can put in it 3 times. So I'm going to copy this 3 more times, or 2 more times. Alright. And then, alright. So this will be line 1. And here we have line 2. And finally we have here line 3. Alright. So if I do this, you can see of this here, that works beautifully. And as we do this, align items, baseline, I am not sure if this is exactly what I wanted. I would prefer in the text. So align items, center, baseline. Well, we'll try here, see if this works. And if not, then we probably have to select this line height. I'll just save this, refresh it. Does it get? No, it doesn't work. Alright. Most likely with line height. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. What we can do here, maybe a style line height. Line height, and then the line height will be equal to this here. Of course, there are better ways to do it. I'm just doing it quickly because I find it, this is probably the least important. So this is a line height. You can see here, if we have here, we go click on the elements, compute, 36 plus 6, that's 40 plus 6 would be 46, and then you have the border of 2. Alright, so 48. Let's say line height is 48 pixels. So if we do this, we refresh, and then we can see here, well, it's apparently not really what I want. Oh, is this correct then? 48. What happened here? For some reason, it went from 40. Oh, am I correct here in the 48? Sorry, it's 40. Alright. So we do 40, then there's a padding, I realize. If we do that, is it really in the center? That's alright. Alright, fair enough. This is more than enough for now. I don't want to make this a advanced CSS class, which is also very interesting, by the way, but let's avoid it for now. Let's just put it in here. So we've got this now, and as you can see here, there is a lot of space here, but that's fair enough. That's fine. We can do maybe a call auto. What will happen then if we do this? Oh, that is not ready. Alright, so we got everything now. We have this all done. So what we want to do now is we want to get these colors here. We want to extract the name here. You can see revenue 2001, cost 2020, sorry, 2021, here 2021, and the same here 2020. Let's go and do this right now. So to do this, there's a lot of work we're going to do here on our JavaScript, and more specifically, we're going to work from down here. So we had this before. If you see my other video, I covered a lot of these already, but I'm going to delete all of this because this is now all absolutely not necessary. We're going to fine tune this more nicer. So what we're going to do is we're going to work now from scratch again back. And the first thing we need to do here, this label, I will just remove that. We don't need this. And what I want to do here is I want to make sure that we have the ID color. So we say here line 3. Then we have here, I would say here, this can be ID equals line 3 text. Alright, so that makes sense because this is the text and the other one is the line, or maybe this will be line 3 color. So we got these. Keep on doing this, and then here, of course, line number 2. And then finally, color line number 1. That's the most important one. And then what we have to do here is we're going to copy this again, and then here we say this, and instead of color, we say text. So we give these all individual IDs so we can pinpoint them in JavaScript. This is really, really important. Alright, so we've got now all of this. We're done here. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure that the text matches it. And here eventually we need to have the color as well. So how will we do this? So let's save this first. Refresh, you see nothing happens. But we don't need this anymore, the bootstrap, that's fine. We have to go now here to our JavaScript. And in our JavaScript we're going to start working on it. We're going to put in here first some colors. Yes, I'll give you here this legend, or what we call an HTML legend. Alright, and here we're just going to assign all the values. What we can do here, first one is we have all of these items here: line color 1, 2, 3, and line text 1, 2, 3, or line 1, 2, 3 text. So we say here this, and this, and then 1, 2, 3, and then we can just copy all of this, but then in text. Oh. Line text, and then we have another one here as well. So there we are. So we have all of these now. These will be eventually the IDs here that we're going to create. But first, what I need to do here is I have to create a constant that's exactly the same. Well, basically we could just copy all of this, I'm going to put it down here, and then here we say constant. And then here, what is this constant? Basically, they will be all identical. Alright, so we say here constant, and here the color. What we say here, document, yes, as we're going to point to the HTML document, and then say get element by ID. And what's the ID name? Well, you probably figure it out. It is exactly the same name. I tend to like to use the same name so it's easier to pinpoint them. So we're pinpointing right now the item. Once you pinpoint these items, it will be, oh, sorry, I have to make space here. It will be easier then after to connect, because now JavaScript understands exactly what we're doing here, or where if you're talking to a specific value, JavaScript knows exactly which value it needs to grab, or which element with the ID name. That's basically what you're doing. So, and then in here we can say the following. We say what we want to do here is we want to do two things. Well, before we even add up a new item, what we want to do here is first indicate the color value. Yes. So that's what we need to do, and we have to do here also the text. So this one will be easier because this is inner text, not HTML, inner text. Equals what exactly? So what are we going to equal? Well, let me explain. What we want to do here, because currently we have this text here in this paragraph, but this text is not matching with our current information here. You can see here in the tooltip, it already gives you the information, revenue, cost, and not a revenue. Alright, so let's get those and put them in there so that we understand that instead of displaying our hard-coded text here, line 1, 2, 3, we should show whatever is in our legend. So we say here, the text equals, and then what? So where's our text? You go in here, my chart, data, data sets, and then label. That's the one we need. And remember, this is index 0, because this is an array, so it starts with 0. This is the first element, that's why it's called 0. And that will mean dataset index 0. Yes, remember index 0 because we're going to use dataset 0 here. So we say here this dot data. Why data? Well, it's in this my chart constant, and in this constant we go to data, and in data we have to dig in one more level deep, which is the data set, and then specifically data set 0, because if you do data set 1 you will go down here. But for the first line we need data set 0, and after that data set 1, etc., and then specifically label. So data sets 0 and then label. Dot data set array 0. This is the first element, and then label. Alright, so once we did that, we can do this and copy this, and then we say here 1, and finally 2. Let's save this, and before I do this, I need to make sure I comment this out because this will give an error. Save this, refresh, and now we can see our text is starting to match up here. Beautiful. Alright, so that is step number 1. Now what we need to do is we need to get the value. So let's double check what is the value. I have to do this on top of my head, so let's figure out this. There we say value, if I'm not mistaken, equals, and then we're going to get here. Remember, what is now exactly what we need? Well, what we want is not the value as in the numbers, like here, the data. No, what we need is the background color or the border color. In our case, we want to get the color here, so this color should match. So it should be a red color or blue color or green color, whatever you want. In our case, I like to use the border color, not the background color for a line. And the reason why is sometimes you don't have a border color in your line chart, but you always have a line color or there's no background color in your line chart. This is quite commonly. Yes, right now there is, because it's set on green here, you can see here, because the border point radius, or the inner point has a background color. But if there's no background color, then you will have an issue here. So we just say the border line. That will be straightforward. So we go from my chart, data sets of data to data sets, and then we say border color with capital C. Make sure you are paying attention to the capitalized letters because this is JavaScript. They're strict in this. Alright, so we're going to do this. sorry, no, this, and then border color. So I'm going to refresh and see if this works. All right, so we get an error here, and the reason why is we need to figure out then how we can get the value. So what I will have to do is, because I'm doing this on top of my head, I just have to quickly Google how we pinpoint the value here. All right, as I was searching for it, I looked at it and this was all correct, but I realized we have a slight challenging issue here. And the reason why it's black is not because our code here below is incorrect, which I first thought it was, but as W3 Schools was indicating, this is correct. So what is the issue here? Well, I'm using here HSL. So that would mean that a color picker that uses a standard hex code, as you can see in here, they are using the hex code or RGB color, and this creates a certain issue. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this, and that's all right for now. The future will probably use HSL code more often. However, probably for charts it doesn't matter, because why is HSL color coding so useful is because you can use different type of hues or shades. It means lighter, darker, more darker, etc., etc. And this you can play on proper website development. However, you don't have to design a chart with different hues, so it would not matter so much. So it doesn't have to be, normally a chart has always different colors like this to make it clear. So it doesn't have to be here, this is green and this is slightly dark green and this is much darker green. It's too hard to figure out. So this should be always different colors, green, red, blue, yellow, etc., etc. So what I'm going to do here, for simplicity purposes, we're going to just give it a simple color, 009900. All right, I'll save this. And once I save this, I refresh, you can see now this is a nice green color. And the green color here matches this exactly. And you can see here RGB is also accepted. Oh, apparently this might be an option as well, I realize. But that doesn't matter for now. So now let's continue on. So while we have this, the RGB does work. Let's fix all of these. Let's try it one more time if the hues are working or not. But based on what I've seen so far and our test, it validated to me that it did not work. While you can see that we do have options. So what I'm going to do here is, all right, do this first. So we have now all three data sets. If I refresh here, it just doesn't work. Even if we have the hues set, for some reason, this is not able to grab. Maybe, well, let's double check here. Maybe if we remove the commas, see if that will work. If that will work, it will be very nice. All right, that just doesn't work at all. Well, here the color is showing. Here it just does not grab it. If we say 100, there's a 50%. All right, fair enough. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry about that. That I cannot figure it out. I'll try to look for this. However, for now, what is the color of this one? Let's double check here. That's if I'm not mistaken, this should be the red color. So red is 990000. All right. So we got that, and then here, this is probably the blue color. So because of RGB, we know that the very end is blue. So we do just 999, save this, refresh, and there we are. So we have these colors now. As you can see, the color here, only the inner part is still, this is the background color. As you can see, it's confusing now or conflicting on it other. That's why I recommend to use for a line chart always the border color instead of the background color. All right, so we have blue and everything. So this matches perfectly with this. So what happens now if we change this? Let's say we're going to make this yellow. Please enter. Nothing happens. Why doesn't happen anything? Well, simply this, we didn't update this. We need to create an update here. So we have this update item here. And what we can do now is basically indicate here in the line to on this legend here, create a new function to update it. Almost similar to this one here. So what I'm going to do here is the following. We're going to say here now, we're going to get not the line, I'm going to get the color. Yes, and we say value. Oh well, what we need to do now is we're going to say this equals that. That's basically what we want to do. Basically here first, as you can see here, it was this, we'll grab the information from here. And now later on, once we change it, we'll grab the color, what we have selected, and then insert it into this here. Alright, so I hope you understand this. If not, don't worry, we're going to do it right now. So we create a new function here. And this function, give it a name first. Function is legend color. Alright, so in legend color, we have basically two items. We have this here. And then what we have here is almost similar as well, which is the my chart, then update command dot update. So once we do this, we will update the command, and that's it. So once we have this here, all we have to do now is to make sure that this is being triggered the moment we click on it. So what we can say here, line color dot add event listener, and this event listener is triggered on click. So this by clicking on a certain value at that very moment, comma, we trigger our function with the name legend color. Alright, so basically this starts to trigger that. And of course we can do exactly the same with all of these items here, so that they all, no matter what we click, we get them all. So we have the legend, we have this here. Alright, so what we can do here as well, we're going to copy all of these together. Then we say here 1 and 2, and this of course will be 2 and 3. Alright, so let's save this now. Then we have everything here, yes. So let's go back here and check what's going on here. So when we click on this and then we say we want this and that, enter, and does it change? I'm not able to see it. Oh, do I see it? No, I don't see green moving at all. So what are we missing here? So we might be missing here something. Add event listener. All right. Let's open up this. Did I refresh everything? Did I save it all? Console is fine. I want to make sure that we save all of this. Border color. All right. Then let's try this yellow. Alright, this on click doesn't work, so what I want to do is instead of on click, probably on change. That might be probably a more suitable one. On change. So meaning changing the value, because if you click on it, basically the value is staying same. Let's confirm this. Alright, you can see here. So what happens is when you click on this, you see the click, but when you click, you only show, it pops up the value here. That means it will not keep on changing. We can validate this even by making it a console log here. Let's do here console.log. What I will do here is this. So I will say here, and then I will say here what is the value of color line. So we'll always see the console log, and then we say here. Oh well, we can just do here on click. So you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. So let's save this, refresh. Alright, so when I click on this, you will see here now the console log. Console log gives immediately the color. And so while you think you have changed anything, but by clicking on it, you only click on the exact same color to pop up the screen or the selection screen here. And the only one is when you select this, and then it's supposed to change. But of course we didn't did that, so this is the reason why you need to change. Alright? So this is very important to understand as well, so you have an understanding of the JavaScript logic. And it's quite fun to understand it. And it's basically the programming itself is what we can consider a language. Understanding how this language communicates is important to understand how to program. Alright. Green, and now I've red, and then if I click on that, I will enter that. Once I click on enter, you can see it start to change. Let's say blue, I want to make blue, I want to make pink or purple. There you are, or magenta. And then red will be cyan blue. There we are. So now, as you can see, the colors are changing. Maybe you say, well, wait a minute, what about this? Can we change these? Yes, of course, you can change this. We can change it with the item itself, and then we will create an on-change item. However, with that, what you can do is you have to put here an input. Almost similar to this, but then an input. So for now, I will skip that. I will not go deeper in this. Our most important part here is I want to focus on the item, that we have a proper legend. So this is a far more better legend. You can make this, of course, far more concise. If you want to do it, you can just reduce the size amount and reduce the padding and etc. make it a more better item. However, for now, I'm very satisfied with this design. This is a far more practical design, nicer design, plus a far more interactive design. So you can use this. I hope you enjoy this. And if you have any questions regarding to this, put them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in ChartJS, check out in the description box the link directing to my ChartJS course, where you can learn everything about ChartJS. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.